guys, welcome to R&L Homestead. Today we're going to do a farm tour of Farm 58. Farm 58 is a ministry of Calvary Chapel Church in Chattanooga. The farm is located in Dunlap, Tennessee. I will leave a link to their farm in the description. They also have 20 men there that are part of this ministry who run the farm and are discipled during their time there. And they have amazing gardens. I would really like to have that many plants. But right now, I'm just sticking to what we got right here. But every Sunday morning, they will bring produce from their gardens to the church and sell them.
Everything here at our wash station, and then it gets packed in our cooler, and then there's a refrigerated box truck that will be loaded up and then taken down to the church. You guys may have seen that if you've been down to Calvary. You'll see that big refrigerated truck we have there at the market. Then back here we have a cattle barn, and we have a leadership cabin here, and then basically it's just pasture. So there's fencing and water system underground and all that was put in. In the hoop house down here, we're going to have celery and cucumbers growing.
What do you think?
Talk about the cattle first. We have about 65 head of cattle. We started here with 6. And over the years, what we've done is just allowed the herd to continue to grow. So we had 6 cows and we had 1 bull. We replace our bull about every 2 or 3 years. And what happens on this farm is if you're born a girl, you get added to the breeding stock. And you'll live your life out here at the farm. If you're born here a boy, you're going to get turned into ground beef. So the male cattle get turned into steers, and they will be fattened up. They'll be here for about 2 years. These cows are actually part of our fertilizer program. So we move them every single day. They do not have access to all 80 acres of pasture. We use an electric wire, that little white, you can kind of see it around the chickens. There's another little piece of nylon electric wire. We use that as the gas and the brake pedal. When you look at the wildebeest or the buffalo that created fertility in the Midwest and all kinds of other areas, you see them mobbed up, you see them mowing, and you see them moving. And so the cows will not be back on this piece of grass right here for at least 30 days. We've timed it so that during farm tours they end up right here, but they will get moved every single day. If you've ever watched National Geographic, you'll also see in that wild herbivore group, you're going to see thousands of birds that are following behind the herbivores. There's something really special about the relationship between avian and herbivore, and it does something special to the soil. So we have our laying hens following behind our cows, and by not allowing the cows to have just free access, if we gave them access to this entire 25-acre pasture, what they would do is they're like a toddler. All they want to do is eat ice cream. And so they'll come through that pasture and they'll eat all the really succulent, high protein, tender shoots. And then 5 days later, when that new growth is just starting to come up of the good stuff, they're going right back to that buffet ice cream. And so by giving them a smaller paddock and moving them every day, it causes them to come in and not selectively graze. And so they'll come through and clip off the top of the grass. They won't graze it down into the ground. And then we're going to move them into a new paddock and allow this thing to have at least 30 days of rest. This pasture right here was seeded 10 years ago. We've never reseeded it. We've never spread a fertilizer. We've never spread a herbicide, a fungicide, nothing. All we've done is move cattle and move birds the way God designed that thing to work in His creation. And what you see here is the result of doing so. So pecking order comes from chickens, and without the roosters, them hens will cannibalize each other. And so if we put a few roosters in there, it helps kind of even things out. And there's water lines that run through the entire nearly 200-acre property. So down in the garden, we have a big 2-inch main line that's running underneath this entire garden. And then out on the pastures, there's a spigot hookup about every 200 feet. out on the pastures, there'll be a spigot that comes out of the ground that they can hook up to, because their water system is portable. I forgot to talk about when we were over there, but that's a mineral that's just got salt and minerals in it on one side, and then the other one is fresh water. And by having them have access to nice fresh water, a lot of commercial guys will take their cows and put them on a big pasture, and then they dig a pond. And then what happens is the cows, they go and stand in the pond and they pee and poop in the pond, and it's like telling you to drink out of the toilet. And so then they end up with parasites inside the cows, and then they got to worm the cows because the cows got the parasites. But if they would just change the way that they're watering their animals, they would get rid of not having to use all those chemicals. Because we're taking the cows and we're putting them in really small paddocks and they don't have access to shade all the time, that's basically just a big shade. It's a hay wagon that I put 4x4 steel posts and like a chain link fence perimeter and a piece of 70% shade cloth, and that follows the cows around. That's another thing, that on a conventional farm, when you give the cows access to a very large area, what will happen is you'll get these pathogen loads that will concentrate in the shaded areas. So right underneath all of the trees, anywhere that the animal can find shade, it's going to go to that same spot multiple times during the day to seek refuge. And what happens is the pathogen load around that loafing area becomes very intense. And then they start licking the ground and they end up with all kinds of diseases and parasites. And again, the medicine is masking a management decision. And so by having the movable shade, there's never this area where they're constantly congregating around. And they'll only use that shade when they need to, and they'll kind of cycle around, you know, and they're not everybody. Now that our herd's gotten bigger, I need a bigger shade. What we do is we farm the garden on paper in the wintertime, and we plant successionally. What that means is we plant, this is spring mix, and we plant 18 times. This was the newest stuff we just planted. We actually had the very first planting of spring mix that was right here, and we went down. You can kind of see it as it gets bigger.
Alright guys, so Karen's gonna pull her a carrot.
Low. Okay. And you gotta pull real low so you don't pull the green off. Okay, no, don't pull the green off. That's another one. Oh man.
Oh, Mom lost it.
I didn't get it.
Oh boy.
Yellow tater.
That's good, Lou.
Oh, darn.
Is it yummy? Is it good?
So I hope you enjoyed coming along with us as we went to Farm 58. Like I said, they are in Dunlap, Tennessee, and if you are nearby, definitely go check them out. Alright guys, so I hope you liked this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that little bell button, share this video with your friends and family. Y'all have a good one, and God bless.